Where the men to look out for here are Lee King from Chippenham, who's the current championship leader. He's just ahead of Greg Hanson from Stokenchurch in Bucks, while last year's champion, Steve Howe, will be looking to make up ground on his present position of 5th. Your commentators again, Chris Carter and Dave Allen.
All eyes then on the gate. The metal bar falls and away they go. The start of this first leg. The thunder of four-stroke motors as the field charges down to the bottom of the hill. Then they peel right round the tree, hard right. Tricky little piece of circuit for solos and sidecars. And the charge is on. And it really is a formidable sight. And you've got to be a brave man to be charging through the field there. Over that hill, out into space. Well, a mixture of young guys and old guys. We've got veterans like Vic Allen and Jimmy Ed. Oh dear, there's a small technical problem for you. And dear, dear, dear. Well, that certainly brought tears to his eyes, I'm afraid. And a chance to see that little problem again for one of the tail-enders. Charging to make up for a lost ground. And here it comes. Oh dear, small overbalancing job. I do that all the time on Saturday night, but not on a motorcycle.
Certainly very close thing. Has he just missed once or two?
And well, yes, they seem to be having a habit of falling over all over the place here. And 75, that is. That's Sean Curtis from Bicester.
Certainly the biggest man in the race, Sean.
And 41, Stephen Howe. Now that's one of the front runners in this championship, 5th in the series at the moment. And Stephen Howe on the 500 CCM, one of the Howe brothers, Howe family. They've been around a long time, have they not?
It's his dad actually that was well known as well. And Steve was last year's British champion.
Well, he's got an awful lot of work to do to make up for that error in this particular race. We've come round to the end of the first lap. Out in front at the moment, number 54. That's Austin Clues. Well, if the name Clues means anything to motocross enthusiasts, it will be for Austin Clues' dad, Alan Clues, who, of course, the man behind the CCM factory, been involved in the world of motorcycling for a long time. In fact, he was part of the cotton factory as well, wasn't he, at one time?
Yes, up there in Bolton, in Lancs.
Right. 42, that's Lee King, the man who leads the championship. At the moment, Austin Clues number 54, and behind him, 42. Austin Clues is 3rd in the series. So, it's Clues from King.
And Clues certainly the man who's revitalised the second half of this series. At the last round, he was the dominant force.
Well, it's turning into a good battle. There's the front two men, and landing in 3rd place, number 23, that's Greg Hanson. Well, he's been around the motocross world for a long time. There's, as I said, there's some interesting names out there on the racetrack, including Vic Allen, who I saw at the 250 British Motocross Grand Prix so many years ago, I don't even want to think about it. And a bit of a problem there for 56, Gary Curtis. They're landing on their ears all over the place. Gary and Tim Curtis in action on different machines here today.
There's Vic Allen.
Oh, there is Vic Allen. Well, well, well. You see, he probably drives this quick going down to get his old age pension.
Not quite that old. He won't appreciate that. I know he's got very grey hair, but...
He's got a lot of grey hair.
Yeah, still got a lot of that.
Now, I saw Vic Allen when he came down with the rest of his brothers to ride at 250 Grand Prix at Glastonbury, and he was a star then, just a raw novice. Oh, and Lee King looks to level with Austin Clues, but he can't quite do it. Oh, and he goes for the inside line. No! Again, well, he's doing all the right things, but they're not coming up, are they?
Lee King's a very patient lad, though, and he's got terrific stamina. He won't slow down throughout the race. I've seen him ride 6 races in an afternoon and win 3 of them, and not do worse than 4th in any of the others, and he's a very, very tough competitor.
Well, I think we've got bad news for both Austin Clues and Lee King, because Greg Hanson is rapidly overhauling them as well, and suddenly this two-man dice. The race will be a three-man dice. There he is. You saw a glimpse of Greg Hanson closing up on him. Just coming to view there. 9 minutes gone. We're coming up to 10 minutes, just under the halfway stage. Austin Clues, number 54, on the CCM. Lee King on the Husqvarna. Greg Hanson on another CCM. So Lee King, the sandwich in the CCM. Filling the sandwich.
Very much the sandwich filling, because these two CCM men, with Greg Hanson leading the championship, want to get Greg in front but stay there himself, Austin Clues. So Austin will be trying to block Lee King, slow him down a little bit so Greg can catch them, and then perhaps give Greg a chance to take the lead in the championship.
So Austin Clues, Lee King, and now Greg Hanson, number 23, about to join the fun. They leap past a slower mortal. Oh, and again there was an inviting gap, and Lee King almost fell over. He got so excited seeing the gap.
Certainly will. He'll be wanting to get clear of this battle, because he knows that if Greg Hanson gets past him, Austin Clues won't get in Greg's way, as it were. And soon Greg seems to overtake him very easily.
Not suggesting team orders.
Well,
the play here.
The man making the orders is at the front of the field.
Oh, poor old Stephen Howe. He definitely has not been his day. He was on the charge, and he fell off. Well, he's got it going again. 13 minutes gone, so 7 minutes to go on the clock, then 2 laps. And again, you can see the different line that Lee King uses. Another lap gone, and well, of course, every lap that goes into the book is more effort, more stress, more endurance, more stamina sapping requirements for each competitor. Again, King goes through. That's Simon Wise, number 44, who's in 4th place, well out of contention at the moment. The battle is on for 3rd place, and again Lee King goes high and wide and tries very hard to pull back. Greg Hanson is snapping at his heels.
Certainly is. And Lee there, you can see him bashing the berms, it's called, riding a bit two-stroke style. As a newcomer to 4-stroke machines last season, still got some two-stroke habits, squaring off the corners. There's nobody got more stamina than Lee. Greg, of course, recovering from a broken thigh that put him out last season. Still finding that painful.
Well, oh, and Hanson really trying so hard, and almost disaster then.
Very patriotic, the Hanson family, as you can see, Union Jack on the helmet.
And Hanson almost made it through on the inside again. Well, as King uses different lines to Clues in an effort to try to find a way past the race leader. As Dave Allen was saying, that all the time Greg Hanson is riding virtually exactly the same lines that Clues, the race leader, does, and that gives him a chance to take advantage of any mistakes that King might make. 15 minutes gone, 5 more to go, and Greg Hanson is really an all-action character.
Certainly a character, and the Hanson family have been good characters in motocross, always good fighters, never give up easily. He spent half of his career on his ear, I think, in motocross. Must have fallen off more times than anybody else, but never broke a bone. But Greg a little bit less lucky. Broke a collarbone before the season started, after spending all year out with a broken thigh.
Oh, and there's a tail-ender who wasn't quite sure what was going on. Oh, and Hanson uses the chance. Hanson using the confusion there. That tail-ender. Oh, and Lee King cuts through on the inside, but he still lost 2nd place. Well, that was a tail-ender then that almost brought Austin Clues down. There's a Freudian slip if you like. And a chance to see the overtaking manoeuvre again. There it was the tail-ender moving out of the way and almost getting in the path of Lee King, but Greg Hanson, brave boy that he was, just charged through the middle, holds him out because he's on the better line, and there you are, thank you very much, and good night, Mr. King.
And of course Greg straight to the front, as I thought he wouldn't have much trouble overtaking number 54, Austin Clues.
So, a new leader now. and it's now all down to points. Now, really, Lee King has got to start getting a bit brutal, I think. If he's going to get past Clues, he's got to say, move over, Austin, I am definitely coming through. Here's a chance.
It might work for Greg, but I'm not sure it'll work for Lee.
And they're side by side, and Lee King is trying everything he knows, and again, he cuts back onto the inside line. Well, I think he's got to stop being less of a gentleman, and I think this is the interesting now. All the time, of course, Greg Hanson just easing further and further away. Another lap into the book.
He's out.
He's out. He's stopped. Well, what a disaster. Lee King is out. Something the matter with the motorcycle, and obviously a lot of disappointment. Well, a very, very sad and lonely man there. Lee King's charge comes to an end. We'll try and find out something on that motor has definitely gone.
He had trouble in practice, I know, and obviously similar problems by the way he's pointing at the point of the motor.
Well, Lee, hard lines, what exactly went wrong there?
Well, we've noticed that the brake bracket's broken off. That happened on about the 3rd lap, and I was struggling from then on, but something's gone wrong with the motor, but we're not really sure what yet until we've got time to have a look at it.
It actually just cut out?
Yeah, it cut out going over the jump, more or less stopped in the air. But I'll have to go out on my spare bike now for the rest of the day, so we'll see what happens.
It was a great battle before that when you were just behind Austin for most of the race, and it looked at one stage as if you might just take the lead.
Yeah, the problem I had was, it was all right, I could get alongside of him along the straights, but with my back brake on, I just couldn't outbrake him going into the bends, which is just one of them things.
Number 23 then, Greg Hanson on his final circuit, heading for 20 points. That will take him into the championship lead. He was trailing 7 points behind Lee King before this race began, and he'll get 20 points for a win, and that will take him to 209, and Lee King stays on 196. So unless something awful happens to this chap, then he will become the new British 4-stroke championship leader.
Certainly will, and he's really keyed up to win this championship this year. Greg now determined to be a 4-stroke man. Does still ride 2 strokes though in the Open Class Championship.
Some slower man in his way, and that of course is always worrying, because these other guys can move over thinking they're doing you a favour, and suddenly they've dumped you through the ropes and into oblivion.
Well, certainly the way Greg's riding, he could land on top of one of them. Certainly going for it.
Oh dear, bit of a problem there for number 58, Richard Clayton from Barnsley. The Yorkshireman doing damage to the Essex club's ropes and stakes. Back with the race leader, number 23, Greg Hanson.
Just the last corner now.
Well, and he looks back to see where the opposition is, and the opposition, of course, is his teammate. So a victory then for Greg Hanson. His teammate, Austin Clues, will come home in 2nd place. Well, can Lee King do anything better than being forced to retire in the 2nd leg? We wait and see.
So Greg Hanson winning a tremendous battle to move back into the lead in the championship. 209 points, 13 ahead of the unlucky Lee King, who'll be hoping for better fortune in the next race, and that's coming up after the break. Well, we've seen Greg Hanson win the 1st leg of the 4-stroke championship round here today. Let me tell you, he's just taken the 2nd leg very comfortably, although you've had a few problems today, Greg.
Yeah, 1 or 2 brake problems mainly in the first one. I had oil spew out the side of the engine and got all over my rear brake disc, and no brake at all, but just hung in there and got the race win, fortunately.
You also had a bit of luck in that Lee King also had problems with his brake and had to actually retire, so that's given you the chance to take the lead, of course.
Yeah, leading the championship now, which is good. I think I'm about 16 or 18 points in front, so if I can carry on like that, it's all going to be good.
Can't afford any slip-ups in this leg, though.
No, every race is different, though, but if I just stick my neck out and get out in front again, you know, see what happens.
OK, we wish you well. Greg Hanson there, just about to take on Lee King head-to-head in the 3rd leg of the 4-stroke championship. Your commentators again are Chris Carter and Dave Allen.
And away they go then on the start of the third and final leg of the British four-stroke championship. Greg Hanson with a 16-point lead now in the series over Lee King. Well, it's fast and furious out there, but everybody appears to be making their way successfully around the first part of the circuit.
Lee King in third place at the moment, so he's well up there this time.
Better start for King this time. And down the hill they come, the hillside next to this
Greg Hanson, the early leader.
Circuit's well used. Number 23, Greg Hanson, the championship leader then, out in front. Austin Clues in second place, and so poor old Lee King has got to do it all over again. Austin Clues, the man there whose job it is to block the path, block the progress of Lee King if he can. But in this man, number 23, Hanson, open up as quickly as he can, while Lee King knows that he can't afford to mess around. And I suspect we shall see some ruthless stuff as soon as Lee King gets closer. Lee King in third spot on the corner.
First three already pulling well away though.
Well, these three have been in a class of their own in the main. Greg Hanson, one line gone, one lap gone, I should say, and Lee King looking for that inside line. Well, Hanson already stretching the advantage. King very close to Austin Clues. The rest of the field charging through.
And that's the first time we've seen one of the Husabergs in the frame in sixth place there. Looks like Sten Pringle.
Number 23, Hanson, the race leader. And again, King is able to close on Austin Clues, but that's not quite the same as passing. Look at the lead that Hanson is opening up all the time, and Lee King cannot afford to let Greg Hanson get away. He knows that. He'll be beside himself trying to catch Austin Clues. There's the rest of the field coming through, and Greg Hanson literally goes into orbit. He goes high, high, high into the air on that big jump at the bottom part of the circuit. And he's quick when he's down on the firm stuff as well.
Yeah, they all are jumping high. The 61, Ian Meredith going well on the KTM.
Well, they're all fairly tame compared with Hanson, though, Dave.
Very much tame, and a long way behind him as well.
There's the race leader. We wait for the battle for second and third to arrive, and here he comes. And again, look at that, Lee King looking for the inside line, can't do it. Over the line, and Lee King tries to jump past Austin Clues, and I think he's done it. He's going to be ahead when it matters. That's into the turn. Now, can Clues cut back inside him? No, he can't. And well, a fine, intelligent piece of riding there by Lee King.
And of course he's got the better of him round his favourite corner. He's got the outside line, nice smooth line up there. Austin Clues looks to be given up for second place.
Chance to see it again. There is Austin Clues leading going into the dip, but Lee King winds the power on, gets the bike skew whipped in the air, lands perfectly safe and straight, and rockets past his rival. Race leader then, over the brow of the hill. Again, he's got to be careful, we said it before, but of course these motorcycles don't have wing mirrors or anything like that, so they occasionally suspect that the noise of the bike going past is somebody there battling wheel to wheel with them, and have been known to close the door and chop them off.
With these hairpin type turns here at Halstead Club's track, they can look across and see without actually turning their head round, so they tend to do that, look aside, see how much gap they've got.
18 minutes gone, 2 more minutes to go. We appear to have lost Kurt Pringle, number 64, so one of the CCMs has met with a fate. And in 3rd place,
Steve Howe.
41, Stephen Howe. Well, he's had some problems today, so I'm sure he'll be delighted to be heading for a bag full of points. Here we go, up into orbit now.
And he got time to wave.
Well, Greg Hanson, showman.
And here he goes again.
Very careful over that jump.
Yeah, a bit of a hump, that one. Last couple of turns now.
And here's Lee King. How high will he fly?
He's settled for second.
Oh, that was, yes, that was...
Lee King cruising.
Yeah.
Some style here. Greg getting poised for the front wheel in the air, I suspect.
This is going to be a wheelie job, maybe.
It's just about to
There's
come round to the
41
finish
Stephen
line.
Howe. He's just taking no risks. So the checkered flag inside. One air punches. One hand punches the air.
Back wheel
In
locked.
excitement. Well, that's the closest Greg Hanson gets to being a show-off, isn't it, really? Here is Lee King. 2nd place, good 2nd place. He's been in 2nd spot throughout the day, unable to match the pace here of Greg Hanson. And in 3rd spot, very, very shortly, there he goes, Stephen Howe. So the winner, Greg Hanson, in 2nd place, Lee King, and in 3rd place, Stephen Howe.